Hello guys. Okay. Hello guys. I am Dr. Rahul and I will be discussing with you regarding ECG in a short session for your upcoming FMG and UPSC CMS examinations. I hope this session will be helpful for you. Okay. So let's start, right? So first I will be drawing a graph and then I will be discussing about the points. I took this one uh, graph like thing in the background as well, as you can see. Okay. So this is the first positive deflection, what we say as the P wave, correct, that we all know, and followed by it there is a negative deflection, what we say as the Q wave. After that there is a positive deflection, R wave. After that there is a negative deflection, S wave, right? And then there is a positive deflection, T wave, and often we find a U wave as well. But this U wave is not that important because this we find in electrolyte abnormalities, mainly in hypokalemia. Okay, that we can discuss in a separate topic. So in hypokalemia we find the U wave. Okay, and we will focus mainly on this segment today. Okay, because from this segment many questions do come in your exam. Okay, so yeah, let's take me another page. Okay, so after you get an ECG, the first thing we will do is we will check for the heart rate, correct? Heart rate. Now how we will check for the heart rate? Okay, so I will tell you a method. There are actually two methods to check the heart rates. One is by counting the number of large boxes. One is by counting the number of small boxes. Now, total number of before that, I will like to clarify about the boxes. What we say now. This is a, as you see, this is a large box. What we say, large box in an ECG paper. Within this, there are numerous small boxes like this. Okay, let me take a small box. Right now, that small box. Right, this is a small square which is 1 millivolt amplitude, that is vertical, and horizontal is 0.04 second as the time period, right? Okay, so this is clear. Now when I'm talking about the heart rate, how we'll calculate the heart rate? So we know that in entire ECG paper the number of large boxes is 300, and within one large box there is 5 small boxes, so total number of small boxes come around 300 into 5, which is 1500, correct? So you can take either as large boxes, either small boxes. I take small boxes, this is easier to calculate, right? So 1500 number of small boxes in the entire ECG paper. I will repeat again, 1500 number of small boxes in the entire ECG paper, right? So we can calculate heart rate by taking this 1500 number of small boxes, right? Because it's the entire small boxes in the entire ECG paper, correct? 1500 just now I mentioned. So entire number of small boxes in the entire ECG paper 1500 divided by number of small boxes between these two are R, correct? You got it? Number of small square between R. If you take here as large square, you will take here as large square as well. This is small square, so this is small square, right? So 1500 is the number of small square between in the entire ECG paper divided by number of small square between two RR, correct? Alright, so this is how we calculate the heart rate. So I think first one is clear, right? Now second thing is we will look for the P wave, correct? We will look for P wave. Before that I would like to mention one thing which is important as well, the segments of okay, let me discuss it in the next paper. Okay, so after that we will search for the P wave, whether the P wave is okay or not okay, right? We will search for it. Now uh, let me talk about the basic thing, because this question has come in your recent CMS paper. Which one of these is not present in the P wave, in the this one in the graph, right? Okay. Atrial depolarization, ventral depolarization, or ventricular depolarization. Which one of these is absent, right? In the entire graph paper, which one of these is absent or not present, right? So the thing to mention there is that there is nothing called atrial repolarization, right? This is because atrial repolarization merges with the ventricular depolarization. There is no individual existence of atrial repolarization. There is only atrial depolarization, correct? So please keep this thing in mind. This has been repeated twice or thrice. There is no atrial repolarization. There is atrial depolarization, ventricular depolarization, and ventricular repolarization. No atrial repolarization, right? Okay. So let's move. So I'm talking about the segments, correct? So as I first mentioned, this is U, this is T, correct? P, Q, R, S, right? So first is the PR interval. PR interval, correct? Now PR interval is the onset of the P to the onset of the R wave. This is the PR interval, correct? Onset of P to onset of the R wave, right? Then is the QRS. QR is the onset of the Q to the end of the S wave. The QRS, correct? This is the QRS. This is the PR, correct? Then is the QT. QT is the onset of the Q to the end of the T wave, right? This is the QT. Okay. Details about this I will discuss in my future slides, right? Okay. So we are coming back to our P wave. Now P wave, the number of box it traverses actually 2.5 box, like that. You can say almost 2.5 boxes, 2.5 small squares, you can say. So it is almost like you can say less than 2.5 small squares. Now there are some abnormalities, like there may be tall P wave, or there may be like M shaped, right? Yes. So this one, the tall P wave, is known as the P pulmonelli, correct? P pulmonelli, which is seen in right atrial enlargement mainly. This has been asked right before. Why will you see P pulmonelli? P pulmonelli is seen in right atrial enlargement. This one is P mitrali. P mitrali is mainly seen. Let me write it. P mitrali is mainly seen in left atrial enlargement. This has also been repeated, right? P mitrali is seen in left atrial enlargement, and P pulmonale is seen in right atrial enlargement, correct? Okay. So next we will go to PR interval. Previously I mentioned that the start of the P wave to this start of the R wave is the PR interval. Now PR interval is important because PR interval normally is 0.12 to 0.20 second. This has been asked again, that PR interval normal duration is 0.12 to 0.20 second, right? Now what is if it is less than 0.12 or more than 0.20? That is also important. When the duration is less than 0.12, we say the WPW, correct? WPW syndrome, right? And when it is more than 0.20, we say this is primary heart block, correct? Now talking about WPW, what we say, this is again important topic. WPW, that the PR interval is less than 0.12 second, correct? So this is the first thing, that PR interval is less than 0.12 second here. Now what is WPW syndrome? Actually there is an accessory pathway through which there occurs re-entry of the uh, action potential, right, which generates this one, a delta wave, right? Normally this was our graph, correct? Right, this was our graph, but here you will find something like this. right? But this one is the delta wave, which we find in WPW syndrome, correct? So first thing in WP or W syndrome is PI interval is less than 0.12 second. Next thing is the delta wave, very important. Now here you can give drugs like flecainamide. Flecainamide is a drug of choice, but often surgery is required because the bypass tract have to be removed, right? Because otherwise there will be re-entry of the waves again and again. So surgery is the mainstay of treatment, I will say. Yeah. Next we will come to we finished P wave. Next we will come to QT. QT is also an important this one important topic, and the questions has been asked from QT as well. So normal QT is 0.36 to 0.447, correct? Normal QT is 0.36 to 0.44, approx you can say 8 to 10 small boxes. So 0.36 to 0.447. What are the conditions when QT will be prolonged? There is more than 0.44, or what are the conditions where QT will be reduced, right? That is less than 0.36. These are important. These are important, guys. Okay, that QT will be prolonged or QT will be increased. This has been asked so many times. Okay, so actually I have a dictum like this is not true for everything, but you can remember it, that QT is inversely proportional to potassium. It's so important that if potassium will reduce, QT will be prolonged. But remember, this is not true for every case, but for majority of the cases scenarios like that, if potassium reduces, QT will be prolonged. Okay, so QT more than 0.447, which all conditions? In conditions like just now I mentioned, decrease potassium, decrease calcium, if we give 1A anti-arrhythmic drugs. These are the three main conditions, right, where QT is more than 0.447. And when QT will be less than 0.36 second, there are conditions like just opposite, increased calcium or 1B anti-arrhythmic drugs. Now this is enough for this level. Now next one. Next we'll go for another important bundle branch block. Bundle branch block, either there will be right bundle branch block or there will be left bundle branch block, correct? Either right or left. Now as we know that the chest lids are placed, this is the ziggy sternum. So V1 to V6 will go like this, right? So common sense tells me that V1, V2, V3, these are mainly on the right side, I can say, and V5, which is mainly on the left side, correct? So when we see an M pattern either in the V1 or in the V6, if it is in the V1, M pattern in V1, right, or reciprocal of the M, that is W pattern in V5, V6, correct? This makes it as I got wrong. Let me use W pattern in B5, B6, right? This makes it as right bundle branch block. Means M pattern in B1, B1, B2, and the reciprocal of the M, that is W pattern in B5, B6, makes it as right bundle branch block. You can remember this one only. Now M pattern where? M pattern mainly on the R wave. Like you can expect something like this, right? Yes, yeah. So you can expect something like this, right? This M type of pattern, if you find in the B1, B2, and the reciprocal of M in B5, B6 is definitely right bundle branch block. Opposite is left bundle branch block, like M pattern in B5, B6 and W in B1, B2. This makes it as left bundle branch block, right? Okay, so let's take another page. Now there are some other conditions like I'm talking about hypothermia. This question has been asked that what type of ECGs we can expect in hypothermia. There are mainly two ECGs we can expect. What is asked mostly in exams. One is Osborne waves, right? And sometimes Brady. Mainly Osborne waves are seen in hypothermia, correct? Another thing is that like, what ECG we can expect in digoxin. If we give digoxin, we can expect like a hockey stick pattern, right? Hockey stick pattern, right? Now there was an important topic like potassium, right? So what I did discussed earlier, the electrolyte abnormalities, right? So either there will be increased potassium or there will be decreased potassium, hyper and hypokalemia, right? Now what are the ECG changes in hyperkalemia and hypokalemia? This was asked previously, right? Now they often ask about the sequence of changes. This is again important question. This has been asked in INI set, and this can be repeated, right, in your upcoming exams as well. What are the sequence of the changes in hyperkalemia and hypokalemia? Let me talk about hyperkalemia first. First change is that there will be tall T waves. Next change, increase PR. And number 3, sine wave. Sine wave is like this, like so. These are the three changes in sequence: tall T, increase PR, and sine wave. In case of hypokalemia is most important, guys. So, what are the changes we expect in hypokalemia in sequence? First, T wave will disappear. T wave will disappear completely. Next, U wave will appear. As I mentioned earlier, first T disappear, then U appear. Then increase PR followed by increase QT, and there is sagging ST. These are the changes in sequence in hypokalemia, right? Next, I will talk about the MI. So, MI broadly there is STEMI and there is NSTEMI. So, one thing is there, like in NSTEMI. Okay, let me show the graphs first. What are the you know the symptoms of MI, of course. Now, the graphs are like either in STEMI there will be ST elevation, right? Mainly we will find ST elevation, right? Okay. So this is one pattern. There will be ST elevation, right? So other things are also seen in MI, like there may be tall T waves, tall T. Of course, as I mentioned, ST elevation will be there. T inversion also is seen sometimes. T inversion and Q wave, right? But mainly this pattern, either there is ST elevation or there is sagging type of ST, as we say, sagging ST is also seen, correct? Okay. Now I will talk about few other ECG conditions that are repeated. Like one of them is atrial fibrillation, right? As I can see in my list, this is the management ECG. This is important, right? So atrial fibrillation is like, as you can see, there is no particular PUF here. Like we mentioned 2.5 small boxes, or this is the characteristic of PUF, right? There is no characteristic PUF here, so we can say this as bizarre PUF. Bezier P, right? And see the RR gap. This is completely irregular. So this makes the diagnosis of atrial fibrillation. Atrial fibrillation. First one is Bezier P wave, and next one is irregular RR interval. Right? Next, I will talk about the MAT, or multifocal atrial tachycardia. Now the thing is, in this pattern, in the entire ECG curve, you can see this is one type of P wave, correct? This is another type of P wave, right? This is something another type of P wave. There is a different type of P wave in the entire ECG. There are different type of P wave. That was the multifocal atrial tachy. Multifocal atrial tachy. There are different type of P wave in the entire ECG, right? This is how we diagnose multifocal atrial tachycardia, right? Next, I will talk about torsades. If you carefully see the pattern, you will see something like this, again this, right? So if you see such type of graph, it is actually torsades, and here management is asked often. It is Maxwell, right? Okay, so I have discussed almost all the important points from ECG. So hope you will like this effort, and if you want to know something related to ECG, you can drop in the comment box. I will take it in my next video, right? Thank you.